Hey, how's it going guys, it's your boy, and I'm going to try and make this video as quick as I can because I've got things to do. However, it's very important that I do make this video because it's about Owen Jones and the assault he went through, so let's just go through the events first and dissect it, shall we? Because there's some things that just don't add up, and he has really been using this to his full advantage to virtue signal, call for the end of certain press freedoms, which is rather ironic considering what he's been virtue signaling about. So first he starts off on Twitter on August the 17th. This is a bit dramatic. So firstly, I'm fine, but last night when I was celebrating my birthday, I was attacked, along with my friends, in a blatant premeditated assault. 6 of us left the pub at 3 AM and were saying our goodbyes 30 metres away. Then a group of 3 to 4 men left the pub, made a beeline for me, kicked me in the back, threw me on the ground, slamming my head, and kicked me in the skull. My friends were punched, trying to defend me. The group then scarpered. I don't know if they said anything in the melee. I'm fine, other than a big bump on my head and a cutback. Given the far-right attacks I've had in the streets and generally escalating far-right threats I've had, I am no doubt as to what this is. Earlier this year, a far-right activist took pictures of me in a pub with these threatening messages. For example, the far-right menace is growing, it's real, it's violent, and it's targeting minorities and leftists. We can't let them intimidate us, and we will defeat them. And then he shows this rather worrying sign. But of course, people get stalked all the time. Just as Tommy Robinson being stalked by Mike Stuchbury and Dick Coughlin. They went to his house. And he later tries to clarify what happened. To be clear, is they spotted me in the pub, waited for us to leave, and then launched their attack when we were away from the pub. It was planned, not a random attack. Now firstly, how does he know it was planned? He didn't know they were behind him until they made the beeline and attacked him and his mates. So how does he know this? He doesn't know why they attacked him. He doesn't know who they are, really. He just immediately decided that, yes, this is a far-right attack. Was it? Probably. Maybe. But did the attack even happen? Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we, guys? But there's a few things that don't quite add up. So there's 3 to 4 of them attacking 6. Now, as far as I am aware, knowing human behaviour, people don't go into fights that they can't win. And 3 to 4 versus 6. Sorry, but they're outnumbered. Even if it's 6 soy boys, and Owen Jones is amongst them, I still don't think even the biggest person would go for a group that's bigger than his group. I just don't see it. But regardless, this is what allegedly has happened, and of course, it goes without saying, everybody has to make this caveat, because apparently it's not obvious. I don't agree with these attacks on people. I don't agree with committing political violence on anybody, unless it's in self-defence. If they are attacking you first, you have the right to defend yourself, which Owen Jones promptly did, if he is to be believed. Now, unfortunately for him, I don't have any sympathy for him, and a lot of people don't have sympathy for him for a lot of different reasons, but my reason is not simply because I dislike him. No, it's not really that at all. It's because of comments like these. I see why people are annoyed about a Nazi being punched. I think some of us are still a bit sore about the Nazi systematic mass murder of tens of millions of people and the ruination of the European continent and their plans to carry on where they left off. Some of the comments here are along the lines of violence solves nothing. Park the incident involving the US neo-Nazi dweeb and his little green frog badge. Do you seriously think Adolf Hitler was defeated by people sitting around singing Kumbaya? Well, there we go guys. This is why I have no sympathy for him. Because he believes that political violence is okay. Because World War II wasn't won by singing Kumbaya and telling Hitler to behave himself. Well, no, it wasn't won like that, was it? In fact, yes, we all agree this is what happened. Us trying to appease him and trying to tell him off allowed him to invade Poland and start World War II. But that's a false equivalence. Because technically speaking, if you actually watch the actual things that Richard Spencer says, because this is who he's referring to, and a lot of the other people in the alt-right, most of them aren't really Nazis because they don't have the economic opinions that they share and other things. It's a very wide spectrum, the alt-right, which was very poorly defined anyway, even by people within said movement. But he himself did not consider himself a Nazi. He was just a white nationalist and said that Nazis don't like him because, believe it or not, Nazis actually weren't white nationalists. They were Aryan nationalists, if we want to be very specific. And never mind the fact that that was a war, and this is not a war, we're not in a war, we're having political discourse, and he's saying that we should go out and attack people as part of political discourse, to violently attack them. The two don't compare, because even then, those Nazis from 70 years ago, 80 years ago, are not actually the same Nazis that he is referring to, because don't we have a new term for those people, the neo-Nazis, who, to be quite frank, would be looked down upon by said former original Nazis, because they include a lot of people that were considered untermenschen, and a lot of these people, like Slavs, because there are Russian neo-Nazis, believe it or not, are white. But apparently these people need to be punched because that's how we solve these people. Even though when we bring these people into the public eye, like what happened to Nick Griffin, and they embarrass themselves live on TV, they disappear and promptly their parties dissolve into nothingness because people see them for the jokes that they are. But no, we just have to use political violence to solve our issues. So this is why I think, really, if this is a politically premeditated attack, he brought it upon himself in a way because he put himself out there as somebody who is willing to commit violence, or at the very least is okay with people committing political violence if it ends up achieving his goals. So really, he has no grounds to complain when another person punches him in return, because he's basically said that this is the rules of the game. We're fighting now. We're going to punch each other. We're going to kick each other. Maybe even worse. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want to have to say these things, but that's what he's done. He has created this situation, this context, and he has been blaming the far-right press, or just the right-wing press, for doing this. But it all starts with him. Him and his cronies are the ones who started this push towards violence and accelerationism. It's not the right where the term by all means necessary became a political statement. That was actually a socialist, communist thing. And he agrees with that. He's in league with those people. So I don't want to hear him using this to virtue signal about press freedoms, while he wants to end the press freedoms of the people he dislikes. And he's no different to these thugs who attacked him. He himself is a thug. And now we get to the controversial part of the video, as if saying that, well, he got what he deserved was bad enough, because there may actually be some signs that he might be telling some porkies in all his media appearances. And you saw what I read out from what he said, saying how he got thrown to the ground, he got hit in the head. He seems to be remarkably fine. He doesn't seem to have any marks on him, no bruises, no scratches on the face, and as far as I'm aware, there's been no police report. He didn't call the police, although the police are now searching since the news broke out. And if you see these pictures here, there are actually CCTV cameras across the perimeter of this pub. So we would be able to see these people follow Owen Jones and his 6 friends, or at least 5 friends, out of the pub and attack them. Or at the very least see it just before it happened. So we would be able to see what these people look like. I haven't had that footage yet. Maybe because the pub has not actually been given a warrant, or maybe the pub perhaps is not in the position to do so, or the police have not yet asked, or maybe some people don't want to see this footage because maybe there's some incriminating things there. It just doesn't seem to add up that somebody has no bruises, except for allegedly some scratches on his stomach, but he didn't really mention being hurt in his stomach, but then again he was thrown on the ground, so maybe that's where the scratches come from, to be nice. With all that said, now here is another scenario that could easily be true if an assault did take place, which is as likely as if it didn't happen. I reckon he said something to wind somebody up, as you do in a pub. That can happen. We've all been there, we've all done that. We've said something that sets somebody off. Now, it doesn't necessarily end in violence, but they get annoyed, don't they? And Owen Jones, I don't know if a lot of people know this, and I'm telling the truth, I am swearing down that this happened. I actually went to see him do a speech in what is called the Home Cinema in Manchester. That it is a cinema, but they do theatres and plays and speeches and things like that. It's really more of a multimedia complex that's a bit more on the arty side of things. And I went to see him. This was just as Trump was elected, I think. This was way back in 2016. And me, my mum and her late boyfriend, we went to have a look. None of us liked him, but we thought, well, let's just hear what he has to say. It might be a bit fun, you never know. We didn't like the speech, none of us liked it, and we all went to the bar after this, or at least during the interim, I think. And lo and behold, as I line up to buy us some drinks, or was it to buy myself some drinks, Owen Jones is right in front of me with his mates, and he's a bit of a gobshite. He really is. He's very loud. He's actually quite laddish. He likes to come across as this man of the world, this very liberal person, but he's no different to any other lad. He talks the way that I would talk to my mates. In fact, I'm less loud than him, and I swear less than him, believe it or not. So it wouldn't be, from what I've seen of him, beyond any stretch of the imagination that he said something to set somebody off. And maybe his mates were also offended at this, and they decided, you know what, let's go beat this guy up because he's really annoyed us. Or it could have been a far-right attack, because he has been pushing for violence from his side, at the very least for the past 2 years. So it doesn't surprise me that some far-right elements in the UK have decided, well, you know what, rather than let him punch us or one of his cronies in Momentum or what have you do the punching, we'll go first. They've had enough of Antifa, they've had enough of Hope Not Hate and other far-left groups. They're going to go and dish it out themselves. They've had enough taking it. And so they found him one night, randomly. It could have been that veteran. It might not have been that veteran. Who knows? But it was an opportunity they could not miss. And they went for it. Or it could be a Jussie Smollett scenario. You never know. But it's very similar to Jussie Smollett. Person gets attacked who's of a far left persuasion. uses it to advance his politics and his side. Some things in the story don't add up. The physical evidence doesn't seem to reflect the story, and other things like that. And lo and behold, at least in Jussie Smollett's case, it turns out to be fake. But if it turns out to be true, when evidence does come to light, Owen Jones really has no grounds to complain about anything, and instead should apologise really for, saying, you know what, I got it wrong. I shouldn't have been calling for the violence. I should not have been calling for by any means necessary to defeat my political opponents, because look what's happened to me. I have been attacked. Turns out that actually the Martin Luther King method that a lot of the far left love to always compare themselves to, that is just the way that works, because you appear to be the better people when the others are the ones attacking you physically. Now, what does this attack mean for the future of political discourse in the UK? Well, I don't know. I think if it is proven to be a far-right attack, I don't think this will be the last one. This will be one of many. I think this could end up becoming a domino effect, potentially. We'll start seeing more violence, more Antifa members, more Hope Not Hate members who are being spotted in the public will be attacked. Mostly at night, probably. Or maybe at protests or gatherings. Maybe the far-right have decided, or certain sects have decided, that enough is enough. They're going to do the same thing that has been happening to them. It's Owen Jones. Nobody likes him, apart from the communists. I think he will continue to use this as much as he can to milk it, and that will be it, most likely, I think. He will get the sympathy from his side. He will not get sympathy from the opposite side or people in the middle. Life will go on, I guess, in a way. And I think, ultimately, he reaps what he sows. Sorry, Owen, but you did clamour for it, and now you've received it. What are you going to do now?